And he shot me, which has been my beef with Meg this entire time.
Why would she make it up?
First of all, I think it's above her. I don't think she made it up. She's a mere pawn in this. This play is greater than her. I ain't gonna say who I think made it up.
And who set the play to make sure it gets out that way and stays that way.
Yeah. Like, actually, niggas out there know who it is. I ain't saying it on my broadcast. But I know exactly who it is. I know how that gun got there. I know who gun it was. And I thought it was weird that the last time we talked about this shit, Kelsey jumped in my DMs talking about, hey, don't talk about this no more. Why? You got immunity.
Tory claims that Sean was working for Roc Nation due to two reasons. One, Sean kept trying to force Tory to take a plea deal that would basically force him to take responsibility for the incident. Tory didn't want to do this because he believed he wasn't guilty. The moment Tory refused to take the plea deal, she decided to abandon the case. On top of this, Tory pointed out a strange coincidence that took place after she left. See, right after she dropped Tory, she released a new TV show that she had executive produced. The TV show was called Reasonable Doubt, which coincidentally just so happens to be the name of one of Jay-Z's top-selling albums. Now, while this might have just been a coincidence, things start to get strange when you go through the titles of each episode. Episode 1 is called Can't Knock the Hustle, which just so happens to be the title of one of Jay-Z's songs on Reasonable Doubt. Episode 2 is called Family Feud, which just so happens to be a song on Jay-Z's 444 album. The third episode is called 99 Problems, which is a song on Jay-Z's The Black album. The fourth episode is called Guilty Until Proven Innocent, which, you guessed it, is the name of another one of Jay-Z's songs on his Dynasty album. The fifth episode is So Ambitious, just like Jay-Z's song on the Blueprint 3. The sixth episode is Renegade, which is Jay-Z's song on the Blueprint album. The seventh episode is called N-Word What, N-Word Who, which is awfully similar to Jay-Z's Jigga What, Jigga Who on his Volume 2 Hard Knock Life album. The eighth episode is Song Cry, which is a song on Jay-Z's Blueprint album. The final episode of Season 1 is called Already Home, just like Jay-Z's song on the Blueprint 3. As you can see, each and every episode and even the name of the show comes directly from Jay-Z. Jay-Z, who just so happens to be the owner of Roc Nation. This is already suspicious enough, but it's even more suspicious that one of the first songs they play on the show just so happens to be a Megan Thee Stallion song. Now think about this. In order to have included these songs, they would have needed to get an approval from Roc Nation. So if we look at this wisely, Tory Lanez's lawyer abandons him during the middle of the trial after he refused to take a plea deal. She then ends up making a show named after the prosecutor's victim and star witness's boss, Jay-Z. The show's episode all just so happened to be named after Jay-Z's songs. This pretty much confirmed to me that Tory's lawyer was compromised.
You can tell that this person was clearly very happy to be leaving the situation and leaving this man in the dirt. She was laughing, giggling, she's probably kicking her feet as well. And Tory was just showing like, this is what I was putting up with. They actually tried to remove this audio. They removed it off the main audio on the main song on YouTube, and they removed it off Spotify as well, but I believe they got it back up, something like that. But you can tell it's just a bunch of like, they're trying to censor this all. Bro, it's very clear to see that something is going on. And people act like corruption doesn't exist, and I really don't understand why. Especially when it comes to the billionaires, the elites. They can really buy their way through anything. They really can, and everyone knows that. But as soon as it's someone they like to ignore that.
High interest rate. He knew that by cutting the labels out at that moment in his career, he would make more money than he ever had before. Tory actually spoke about how record deals were just a scam while talking on an academic's live stream. During the live stream, he started warning other artists to copy what he did and stay independent.
Looking at 50-50 now. They'll be like, oh yeah, we got a 50-50 split. We're partnership. We're partners. We're not, you know what I mean? Like it's not a regular record deal. We're partners. We're in a partnership.
That sounds good. But the royalty split still doesn't allow the partners to eat off of the royalty. Like, remember, the royalty will always be low. That's what the royalty deal is for. The royalty deal is to keep the artist in debt, is to keep the artist... Remember, think about how much generational wealth black people should have for their children off of all the music that we made. If all that money was going to an artist because, you know, they had all their paperwork right, their family would be rich. Jodeci, all those. I'm sure Jodeci has a cousin right now that's not rich. His family should be rich, loaded. Not just Jodeci. His whole family should be loaded because of how many times that record has been played. But back in the times, there wasn't Spotify. There wasn't any of these things. Spotify is now, DSPs have now created a lane where you can put music out, and for the amount of time that it's listened to, money comes back to you. But because the game knows this, the game realized, oh fuck, if artists know this, what the fuck?
if artists ever delete the royalty deal, we're in the way that we really make money. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Unless you're really doing like a real deal with integrity, and you guys find a way for it to work. So you got to think about it, bro. If you come through and you're hot and you're just who's booming, you're not leaving with no money. You're leaving in debt. You're leaving more in debt. You're leaving more in debt, dog. And all they're doing is just draining you until the 3 years that you're hot.
Roc Nation had it in for him since he wanted to remain independent. He claims that after the incident happened with Meg, Roc Nation contacted Tory and threatened him.
Call from Roc Nation that says, yo, we heard you're going to make a statement about what happened, and it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't understand what the issue of me telling my fans, like, yo, look, it's not that serious of a deal. I went to jail for whatever. It's like, I didn't get for that 2 days why that was an issue. 2 days later, the TMZ report come out. All of a sudden, the affiliates of her circle start pointing like little subliminal fingers, like count your days and like.
As you heard for yourself, according to Tory, Roc Nation allegedly called them threatening him to remain silent or else. After he received that call, Meg suddenly changed her tune and began to blame Tory for the incident, who was nearby and saw it all. A witness that during the trial ended up changing his testimony last minute, claiming that it was Tory who did it after he previously claimed it was a woman. Add this with the fact that Meg admitted to lying not once but twice about this incident. First, Meg claims she stepped on glass. Then Meg lied about being intimate with Tory.
Really pay attention to this. Mm-hmm. When I was with Interscope, let's say I didn't drop music for a solid year and a half. Tory Lanez made sure that his streams were about 3 million streams, like with all the music, 3 million streams a day. Off 1 million streams, an artist gets $5,000 to $6,000 every Friday or every other Friday, right? So that means that when I wasn't dropping and I was at home, some label was sitting on their ass collecting $15,000 a day off of Tory Lanez music. If I'm popping and I'm making songs, I'm probably gonna do around like, let's call it 5 million streams. Let's just say that, just to make it easy, right? That means that someone's making $25,000 a day off of my music. So in 4 days, they made 100 grand. Like, guys, let's do the numbers, guys.
I sold these shits to my fans for $1. People came, some people bought 20, some people bought 5, some people bought 60. It doesn't matter how much you bought. It was only $1. You spent $60, you bought 60. I need y'all to understand. One of those copies right now is going for 50,000, 60,000, 60,000. Yo, my nigga, and these are sold. They're sold. Go look at the list right now and see how small the sellers list is getting. Y'all don't understand what the fuck is going on? Y'all don't understand I just cracked the fucking industry? Y'all don't understand I just cracked this shit? I just cracked this whole shit. It's cracked. It's over. I cracked the whole shit. It's over. It's over. No more middleman. All y'all artists out there, fuck your label. Fuck the nigga that's telling you, yo, you gotta wait for this day on Spotify and on this. Fuck that. Nigga, it's over. Y'all gonna get paid, and your fans gonna get paid. And they gonna keep coming to you. Why? Because y'all making money together. This the digital trap house. Welcome, niggas. You're fucking welcome. We here. We here. You understand why I'm going so crazy? I can't believe I did this shit my fucking self. This may not make sense to niggas like y'all. Some of y'all niggas, it hasn't registered yet. It hasn't got there yet. It hasn't got there. Y'all niggas like, yo, why is he screaming?
Where it's like, now the reports are starting to say, okay, well, everyone's pointing to different things. No one really knows what's happened, but nobody has ever said she got shot. Nobody has ever said she got shot. Not TMZ, not the police report at this point. Nothing is saying that she got shot. As soon as she sees herself on video with the bikini and things like that, and it looks bad, she then comes out and says, yo, the narrative of me getting cut by glass, it's just not true. She doesn't point at nobody or anybody or say anything or anything like that. She just says the narrative that whatever came out of me being cut by glass is not true. I was shot in my feet with the intention to harm me and put harm and danger upon me, right? So, okay, cool. Like, all of a sudden, the affiliates of her circle start pointing like little subliminal fingers, like count your days and like, I won't be around, and shooting at feet, and like little funny things that they start doing. And I'm kind of like, damn, hold on, where y'all about to take this? Because y'all told me not to make a statement, so I'm trying to figure out where y'all taking me to, I don't get it. So then at this point she goes live because people are not really understanding the story or whatever cases. She waits, she doesn't go on, a time when it's just a regular time. For y'all who don't understand, it was one of those things where me and her knew what was going on, but y'all didn't know what was going on. She went live on my birthday. LA Times, okay? This is put in public information. LA Times puts out an article, and in the article they say, this is the initial report. 2 sources close to the investigation said that she got cut by glass, and she said that she got cut by glass. So then it's like, people see that, okay, hold on, they're saying on the initial police report, with Officer Santiago, whatever his name is, you can go look this up, this is on LA Times. That's when it gets to this point where it says, okay, they reported no gunfire wound in her foot. They just reported a woman with a foot injury. So you gotta understand, like, this is what's in their initial police report. Fuck all the Instagram, fuck the other shit. This is just what's in the police report. So you gotta understand, like, I'm getting to a point where I'm like, wow, I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, like, at the end of the day, like, maybe some people might see this, maybe some people might not. It gets to academics, it gets to academics, it gets to Hollywood Unlocked, it gets to certain places, right? And she comes out with this tweet that says, keep talking and I'm gonna stop sparing you. It's like, my love, I have not been on the internet for 3 months. And then 30 minutes later, she just goes on live. And it's like me telling you, yo, keep talking, my nigga, and I'm gonna slap you. And then I just slap you. It's like, you didn't do anything for me to slap you, I just slapped you. So it's like, who was talking to who? Who are you saying to keep talking to? I don't understand. Whatever. It gets past this point, and it gets to a place where now She says, I'm gonna stop sparing you, whatever case she gets on live. Now, because it got on academics that there was no gunfire wound on the initial report.
So y'all see what it was, right? I chose those first 3 clips just because they literally explain everything. They basically made the narrative as the days followed after the supposed incident. Article says, Megan Thee Stallion first said publicly that she was shot later that week and has slowly revealed more in several social media posts. She didn't admit to being shot until days after it happened. It literally says it. Megan Thee Stallion first said publicly that she was shot later that week. Goes on to say, she said from the beginning that she expected to fully recover, but said in subsequent posts that the shooting, which required her to have surgery to have the bullets removed, was super scary. Now also, in those clips where Tory Lanez was talking on IG, he explained that she took a picture in the surgery room and was wondering how in the hell was she able to take a picture while she was getting surgery on a foot that didn't have any bullets in it. Then, this is the thing where he was talking about her saying, I'm gonna quit sparing you. It says, she consistently declined to name lanes until Thursday night, when she also tweeted, lie one more time and I'm gonna quit sparing you. Then it goes on to say, how she was already, a huge hip hop star. She's had an amazing year. She had the song with Cardi B, WAP, so on and so on. And, mind you, this article is the same week that song with Cardi went #1 on the Hot 100 Billboard. It says the bawdy celebration of women's sexuality entered the Billboard Hot 100 at #1 this week. Check that out. This was a month and a week later after the event. After the supposed shooting, boom, the song she got with Cardi goes #1. Think about that. Think about how much her name was all in the media. They getting this whole little setup going to frame Tory Lanez to push him out. All while this is going on, they get a #1 record with Cardi.
Facts, we can bring evidence. We also got to take in, just analyzing the human psychology. Like, if a person is this adamant and this confident in something, meanwhile the other person is panicking and changing their story and lying and this and that, and then you do the background check on the people around them and the amount of power they have. Again, this is just away from the evidence that we can bring. But if we're just piecing things together, you can clearly see that this guy is being offered these other deals, less time, this, that. He's saying, nah, I ain't gonna take that, I ain't do the crime. Listen, when you get someone with such confidence like that, I'm not saying all of the time they're telling the truth or they're innocent, but you got to take that into account. But you can tell when someone is telling the truth and when someone is lying.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gail King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch, I always want to talk about this shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night. Bitch, you kept catching me out of my fucking mind.
We knew she was lying. And look how happy she was to lie, and happy she was to admit to lying. You gotta know someone by their fruits, not by what they're saying, bro. Is this your trustworthy source? If this is your trustworthy source, then, bro, look, it's looking long for you, I can't lie.
I asked you to your face, did you fuck them niggas? And you swore on your mother. I knew from then I couldn't trust her. More lies from the lips of a lover. I had picked out a ring. Then you lied in my face, went on TV and then lied to Gail King. I found out with the rest of the world on purpose. You know the devil was a serpent. For some streams and views, girl, I hope it was worth it. Same for Megan Thee Stallion. This is for Megan the person.
Like he said, do you know the devil was a serpent? I hope for the streams and views it was all worth it. He knows exactly what's going on. This guy was an ex, bro. And what are they gonna say? Oh, he's salty, he's this, he's that. Don't let social media confuse you, bro.
What the fuck?
Some more proof. These people, as soon as they got on bad terms, they start revealing everything, bro. And people could say, oh no, she's lying, she just said it for the track, she just wanted to diss her, this, that. No, these people be knowing, bro. Like that one guy that dissed Tory Lanez, that guy from TDE, he's still admitted, like, bro, we don't believe you shot her either. You know how deep it's got to be for you to write a diss track on a man and then say, oh, by the way, I'm still on your side for that incident. Nicki said, how you get shot with no scar? She been known that. She been thought that even when she was collabing with Meg. She been known that, bro. That's what people don't like to take into account.
If you have seen any of the videos Megan has been putting out this year, you might have noticed this demonic serpent theme used in all of her videos. It started with her music video for her song Cobra, in which we see Megan Thee Stallion's rebirth into this new serpent image. She is shown appearing as a serpent with snake eyes in the video. She is then seen coming out of the serpent's mouth, even showing herself shedding her serpent skin while being watched by a strange group of people. What this was representing was Megan's rebirth, the birth of the new Megan Thee Stallion, who identified with this serpent. You may be asking why she chooses to identify as a serpent. Well, it's because of what the serpent represents biblically. In her next music video for Hiss, we saw Megan hatching out of an egg, continuing the rebirth theme from her last video. She also showed herself walking into a dark room full of serpents. And then, in her next video, BOA, Megan continues this serpent imagery, this time showing herself as a serpent video game character who devours the players who play the game. In one scene, she is shown using a serpent staff, which she uses to destroy one of the players. This staff is an obvious representation of the serpent staff used in the occult. Also, notice how we can spot the Masonic checkerboard floor in the scene. These occultists love putting the Masonic checkerboard floor in music videos to show their alliance to Freemasons. In the final scene of the video, she shows herself becoming the serpent. This is the same imagery she continued to show in her latest music video from Amushi. Again, the central theme for this music video is Megan being a serpent who devours men. In the video, we see Megan Thee Stallion transform into a serpent and devour a man whole while she's supposed to be hooking up with him. She does the exact same thing in the very next scene, showing herself transform into a giant serpent and swallow another man. A lot of this serpent imagery ties back to the occult and its connection to ancient Rome. In ancient Rome, the serpent goddess Angita was associated with witches, snakes, and magic. In Lanuvium, which was close to Rome, a big snake was declared a god, and they offered sacrifices to it. This is exactly what Megan Thee Stallion is showing us, depicting herself as a snake goddess who devours the men she encountered. Some would say, just like she did to Tory Lanez after he got involved with her. In another scene of the video, we see Megan Thee Stallion dancing in front of a red moon, which is again another indication of occult practice. Like I exposed before, occultists practice something called moon magic. In moon magic, the red moon represents a rebirth and a great change. This was the same imagery shown to us at this year's BET Award, with Will Smith rapping inside of a magical circle with a red moon behind him. All this imagery is connected. She is showing herself as a serpent devouring souls, and then in the next scene using moon magic. These artists are openly revealing their occult ties through their music videos. By the end of the video, we see Megan Thee Stallion surrounded by some sort of cult. They are all wearing all black with their faces painted blue. The men of the cult are shown to be possessed and controlled by Megan Thee Stallion, who is shown as the serpent. These artists are telling us exactly what they are into. In all of Megan's recent videos, she is playing the serpent. We all know what the serpent represents, and here we have Megan depicting herself as this serpent. Megan is revealing to us her price for fame. Notice how this rebrand happened after she signed to Roc Nation. She has been a puppet since the beginning, but the moment Jay and Beyoncé got their hands on her, everything about her got so dark. They gave her a Grammy, and Beyoncé gave her a feature, but she had to sell her soul and be used by Jay-Z in order to get that. Just take a look how Megan is presenting herself. If it's not as a serpent, it's as the literal devil, as she did a whole devil-themed mixtape where she did photo shoots dressed as the devil. These music videos she keeps on dropping just further confirms everything I have said about her. Megan sold her soul years ago. She's a puppet being used to push whatever agendas the elite ask her to push. Just like we recently saw with Megan being brought out by Kamala Harris during one of her support rallies. Kamala had Megan on stage dancing for votes, which just shows how much of a puppet she is.
Gematria. For those new to the channel, gematria is the practice of assigning a numerical value to a name, word, or phrase by reading it as a number by using an alphanumeric cipher. The letters of the alphabets involved have standard numerical values, but a word can yield several values based on the 4 prominent ciphers.
One of those albums was Megan Thee Stallion's Sugar. I want to expand further on what I showed in that video. Again, we need to go back to March 22nd, 2019. That was the day her mother died, who was a rapper in the industry who went by the name Hollywood. At the time of her mother's death, Megan Thee Stallion became very famous very fast, getting a lot of play on the radios. We talked about last year how her mother died 35 days after Megan Thee Stallion's birthday and what the significance of the number 35 is. We're going to expand on why this album now came out 350 days, 350, after her mother's death. So again, if you're new here, we talk about gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. It's based on the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. With the alphabetic order, Sugar is 48. With the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, Hollywood is 48. And again, Megan Thee Stallion's mother, she was a rapper who went by this name. So again, her mother died March 22nd, 2019, which was exactly 350 days before the release of this album. 350 days. And let's just go back and look at what we recorded last year, right after her mother's passing. Again, the date she passed, March 22nd, can be written 22/3, like 223. 223 is the 48th prime number, so there's a number relationship. You might be familiar with the rapper Black Gangsta. He released an album called Illuminati, and then his follow-up album was called 223. the word Illuminati equals 48. And again, 223 is the 48th prime. He said he called his album 223 because it took him 223 weeks to make $2 million. If you write out $2 million as words, it sums to 223.
System used, it's called gematria, a numerical code used in the occult from Kabbalah in which many celebs study, on the screen now. A equals 1, B equals to C equals 3, etc. If you don't believe it, don't worry. The elite do, and so does his boyfriend Diddy.
Of music, science, mathematician, the actual numbers and codes that goes into it. When they talk about the top 5, all of those cats got a special code. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I didn't know. It's clear the work you put in, you're in my official top 5.
The lost symbol speaking cryptic codes, ancient wisdom valuable like gifts of gold. I embark on life, my path is all math. I understand the codes these hackers can't crack.
But this 223 number, it is important to the people who control the world of entertainment, who are the false ones, who are the synagogue of Satan. Again, in Revelation 3:7, it states, there will be these false Jews who are the synagogue of Satan, who are liars. And notice, 223. In the Bible, the letter is written to the Church of Philadelphia, Philadelphia 223, about the synagogue of Satan. Masonic also has that Jewish gematria of 223. Masonry is based in Jewish mysticism, which is Kabbalah. Kabbalah states God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. That's why they work by this code. When her mother died last year, it was one of the dates I told people to circle. I always say a month in advance which day to circle that has the 44 and 64 date numerology. Kill equals 44 and 64. It's the same thing every single month. From Megan Thee Stallions' birthday. And again, a really curious name because a stallion's a male horse. Why would a female be called a stallion? Anyway, from her birthday last year, which was her 24th birthday, to her mother's death was 35 days later. Remember, rap is 35, so is Svengali. And that's the word for the evil in the entertainment industry, the hidden hand that makes entertainers do things that they would not want to do, such as off their mother. Again, her mother's name, Holly Thomas, sums to 149, which is the 35th prime number. Again, and she died 35 days after Megan Thee Stallion's birthday. Her daughter, Megan Thee Stallion, is born on the 46th day of the year, February 15th. Notice Svengali's 35 and 46, rap is 35 and 46, so a perfect ritual for a rap career. She's become very famous since then. Her birth name, Megan, is Megan Pete. Pete has the gematria of 46 in it as well, born on the 46th day of the year. Pete also has 19 like rap, 17 like rap. Again, these are the 4 base ciphers. Alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. In light of Pete having 62 in it, the word sacrifice is 62 and 46, and the term Faustian bargain equals 62, which is a deal with the devil for material wealth and gain. So again, dead on 223, 223, the 48th prime. Her mother was going to turn 48 years old on May 2nd, 2019, so she died just shy of her 48th birthday. Just shy. She almost made it. And notice she died 42 days from her birthday. Again, that other number stamped all over Black history. Freemason also equals 42 and 48. 42 days shy of her 48th birthday. Masonry based in this code of letters and numbers, which is Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism. Her rap name Hollywood was also 48 and 42. So you see, she probably, made the deal once upon a time for herself and for her daughter. And for doing that, she gets off 42 days, again before the 48th birthday, dying at age 47, like the 47 degrees on the Masonic compass. If you don't count the span of days, it was 41 days prior. If you count the span, it was a span of 42 days. 41 also factors in because mom equals 41. She loses her mom. It said the mom's cause of death was brain tumor, which sums to 67 like blood sacrifice. Notice soul is 67 and 41 as well. You sell your soul in the Faustian bargain for your career. In this case, for the music career. So, all of you entertainers who want to be famous, you want the big money, you want the big record deal, you want to be, music video on the airwaves, realize this is what you also want because this is what comes with it. There aren't any exceptions in this world of entertainment. Just look at how many of these entertainers die young. Look at how many of them around the time they get famous, they lose a parent, a brother, a sibling, a cousin, a best friend. It's the same thing again and again. It's clockwork. It's always the same numbers. Until next time.
Meg's also got this case going on. I don't know how it's gonna end up because she's got the big boys on her side, but she forcefully made a man watch her have a little bit of fun in the car with another female. But that's just common industry practice, and the fact that she was so comfortable doing that in front of another guy, like in a moving vehicle, it's common industry practice, bro. And I can't stress it enough. The amount of times I've exposed this, other people exposed it. It happens, bro. But yeah, that's just another thing. Like, she is in the industry. She is another sellout, bro. She's doing all the wicked stuff that all the other guys are in the media that you're clowning and saying Diddy this, Diddy that, no Diddy. Oh, bro, she was all there, bro. It don't matter. Going back to the SEX rituals that I was just talking about, in that Nas video that I posted, this was like 3 years ago now, it's mainly highlighting Aleister Crowley and his SEX magic rituals, in which Aleister Crowley, deemed the wickedest man alive, he nicknamed himself the B666, this, that, it's just satanic guy. Yeah, he did these rituals, and if you know anything about Jay-Z, Jay-Z was a follower of Crowley. He openly wore his Creole do what thou wilt quote, and it's like, yeah man, it's deep. I'm gonna make a whole video on Jay-Z, but yeah, it's dodgy, man, and it's open, it's all out there. So like, so as much as Jay-Z wants to deny this with Diddy and that, Diddy only gets his stuff from Crowley teachings as well, all occult teaching and everything. So bro, imagine what Jay-Z was doing too. These two were the top dogs, bro. Let's not sleep on that.
Trial lawyer left me like she Kevin Louse. She was in bed with my opposition like wedding vows.
Trial lawyer left me like she Kevin Louse. She was in bed with my opposition like wedding vows.
He punched me. Okay. Was there any provocation? Why did Corey Holcomb do what he did? That's the part you ain't told nobody. What made Corey Holcomb do what the fuck he did? Did Corey Holcomb just haul off and do some shit? When are you gonna talk about what you did? Because let me tell you something, ugly robo bitch. Ain't no money for you. The judge fucked up y'all money scheme. The judge fucked y'all money scheme up. All because your dumb ass yelled out Sean Holly in court. You yelled out Sean Holly and you yelled out her phone number out loud in court. Because when you said that was your attorney, the judge looked like, bitch, Sean Holly ain't representing your garbage ass. What the judge say? Call her. No, matter of fact, I'm gonna call her. Then Sean Holly didn't answer. But Sean Holly called back less than 30 seconds later because the curiosity was killing her. Hello? The judge was like, hey, this is Judge so-and-so. Are you Christine Payne's lawyer? What'd she say, Christine? What'd she say? That bitch should never be your lawyer, Christine.
Wait, she didn't own it? She didn't admit.
What?
Oh, that
And
is
Sean Holly done called down to the
humiliating.
Improv to try to get the tape talking about, I'm Christine Payne's lawyer. She wasn't gonna give you no money. Look, listen, Christine, look, let me tell you something, crazy bitch. Just listen to me. This was the extortion plan. When you found a way to get in touch with Sean Holly, and I know how, but we ain't gonna even go there right now. When you found a way to get in touch with her, Sean Holly extorts niggas. Sean Holly, Tory Lanez, is trying to get his $400,000 back from Sean Holly. Sean Holly came on as his lawyer, and then 2 weeks before the trial, just said, I ain't doing shit. After she had his money, and his new lawyers had to scramble and try to put together the case. Why you do that, Sean Holly? Want me to tell you why? Want me to tell you why? I'll save it for later. But we know who you are. We know what you do. Lawyers around town who know how you get down, who got love for me, they told me that bitch gonna try to shake you down, Corey. Sean Holly had the shit set up where I wasn't gonna even be able to go to work. She was gonna send Christine where I work. And then I was gonna be like, what the fuck? And they was gonna be like, well, if you want her to get off you, we need to get, I can prove it. Christine, nobody gives a fuck about you. Want me to tell you what? The lady wasn't even your lawyer. She wasn't gonna owe you a dime. She was gonna be trying to extort me or extorting me and give you $1,000 and a Chuck E. Cheese bang. You need a bang for your forehead. Bitch, don't ever hit the streets without a bang. That is ridiculous. That is an awful picture of you, but that's how you looked at the courthouse. That's why I didn't know who you was. I was like, that's that bitch? God damn, I thought that was a sumo wrestler.
Somebody said you should have been able to see what she was thinking.
Somebody said I should have been able to see what she was thinking.
You know what?
Yeah, Tory Lanez got a raw deal, and it's because of this bitch Sean Holly. This bitch same bitch who motherfucker, she represented Lindsay Lohan and found a way to do that shit when she get Lindsay Lohan's, you know that shit where they declare you crazy, where you can't be in control of your money?
Right, like a Wendy.
I've read hey, play that clip we got on Sean Holly. This is just small shit this lady does. I ain't got to lie, you ain't got to take my word for it.
She decides to serve the exact same subpoena that had already been denied by the judge, and to do it by sending her own process servers to the homes of more than one of Danny Masterson's victims. And then this all blew up, and there was hearings covering why this was done. And of course, Sean Holly just over and over and over again is constantly saying, oh my God, I would never, Your Honor, my pearls, I would never do such a thing. So to have this blowing up again, a similar situation blowing up again, whereas this time it's not Danny Masterson's victims that are being harassed by Sean Holly and or her agents. It is now Danny Masterson's jurors.
Man, listen, this woman has no chill at all. and she after me. She is after me, and I tried to tell her, bitch, ain't no money to shake down. I don't have $400,000 now. I don't have, you got Tory Lanez for the 400,000 and you got a lot of people and you set up, that scheme was brilliant. Y'all had to set me up. I would not have been able to go on tour.
Look at that.
Until we got to the bottom of this restraining order that was pushed through. Who ever thought of that? I was like, this is actually wickedly brilliant. Well, you will use your power. Hey, Sean Holly, how did you get a judge to subpoena the tape down at the Improv if you're not Christine's attorney?
Oof, okay.
That's some illegal shit.
What if the bar knows about all
Well, the bar gonna find out about all this shit. I mean, but back to Christine Page. Sean Holly wasn't gonna give you no money. Sean Holly was gonna try to rob me and tell you, bitch, I'm not your attorney. Sean Holly is wickedly brilliant.
Anyways, I'm seeking. I went to New Orleans. And this is when it got even realer. I went to a warlock out there in New Orleans, and he was training me up because I met him. He said, he said the same thing that all the other ones said, and said, I need to train you. I'm the one that's called to train you, a Puerto Rican guy. And I literally, as he's saying these things, and I'm learning from him different things, Solange Knowles walks in, Beyonce's sister, into that little, it's called the Botanica, that little witchcraft store. Solange Knowles, Beyonce's sister, walks in with her boyfriend, and I'm like, is this a dream? And is this Solange Knowles? He's like, yeah, she comes here regularly. We do rituals for her and her family. And I'm just like, what? Like the Knowles? Like, yeah, man, this is real. And she's buying product and paying for rituals. And I'm like, this might be my call.
Secret Society with Jay-Z, man. He's involved, but he's involved with this shit, man. He involved with that play shit. Like a bunch of Masons. See, the whole Freemason thing is based on a lower level of understanding. Like the real secrets have never been revealed. They weren't supposed to be revealed. So all these people, they walking around like they know something for real, but they don't really know shit. And he doing those little signs and all of that. Those are symbols that have been out there. They've been propagating them shits for a few thousand years. The dude think he knows shit, but he still don't know shit. He could get as many degrees as he want, but it's just like trying to get all degrees you want, but you still got a ceiling. He can't go but so high because the people that he worshiping, that he kissing their ass and letting them feel him up and shit, they don't know shit.
These connections to masonry and stuff like that. And my one question would be, did you ever see any of that firsthand? Like, did you ever go to a party or a studio session and you see things that stand out, like maybe a statue of a satanic statue or occult symbols or things that just stick out to you and made you question why is that there and made you think that this is kind of satanic or anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. What is that goat thing called that's like satanic?
It's called Baphomet.
That, yeah, I saw a huge one of those at one of the title Roc Nation parties in New York, and that was I've never seen anything like that. That like freaked me out. Like when you walked into the party room for title, and Jay-Z wasn't even there, but all his staff was like the Roc Nation, because see, Roc Nation was very, very much in charge of title. And so like all the Roc Nation people were there, but that was weird. And that statue had like the title logo on it. I was thinking, wow, this is crazy, compelling,
And it was just right in the open, like you walked in and it was just
it was right as you walk in. I'm sure there has to be. I'll look and see if I can see any pictures online of it. It seems like there would be. I can't think of the name of it. It was like a museum or and it had this bottom floor, this party room, and that's where it was. And like right when you walked in, I don't think it was put there for the party. I feel like it was always there, but I'm not for sure.
And this is a location in downtown Manhattan?
Yeah, and yes, of course.
Okay. Baphomet is one of the main occult symbols. It's a deity, but it's also a representation. So it's like, it makes sense.
Like the New World Order. Meanwhile, the DEA teamed up with the CCA. They try and lock niggas up. They try and make new state. See, that's that probably on prison. Get your piece today.
And the title of the letter is The Secret Meeting That Changed Rap Music and Destroyed a Generation. It says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not scared.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there, right. Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences were stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, Jake.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on 1 second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
for real though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. No, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember, you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. A few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years, he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
over 2 decades,
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
I don't know their names, Bill, but if you follow the money, you go high enough, you start to see, okay, let's take rap music.
Let's take it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons. So
literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. It seems really kind of suspicious, if you want to say that word, that, you know, the records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Certain flavors are exposed on the record. You know, some records are made by committee, meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. We're gonna have that. So the narrative is really kind of, you know, structured and really made into what the record company want the record to be, and what the, you know, a lot of artists are frustrated with this kind of music making. You know, a lot of people, you know, feel like they're being controlled by the label. This is how they do it. Telling you what songs to sing, what hooks to do, what songs, you know, you can do your song, that's fine. That's an album cut. But the single is what we all say is the single. So you have, you know, the record company pushing the narrative, you know, and you know, so this to me is in somewhat, you know, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full.
Is a prison industrial complex of fat cat billionaires and millionaires who are trading the souls of people right now. That's what's going on. They are literally trading the souls of humanity. Now you gotta ask yourself, what kind of a wicked person desires to have money or wealth based on other people's suffering? You gotta ask yourself, what kind of altars do they bow down to? What kind of gods do they serve or do they revere? That's what's up. But that's not God's desire. He doesn't want people imprisoned. He sent his son so that we could be free from prisons. If you go back into the Old Testament, you will see times when God's people were put in prison and God protected them, or he brought them out of those prison situations. And that's one of the things I've learned throughout all this. Jesus went to a cross so that you wouldn't have to be in prison of any kind.
My facts. There is literally 4 contributors on this suspected gun. 90% contributor on this gun is a male, and the rest of the percentages of this gun are 2 females and another male. None of those 4 people are my DNA. So I'm 100% excluded, not inconclusive like they said when I was in trial. I'm 100% excluded from this gun when it comes to DNA. My fingerprints are 100% excluded from the magazine, from the gun, from the bullets, from anything that has to do with this gun. Cedars-Sinai Hospital, with the help of LA.
ask you about Corey Gamble.
What about that?
He was at Kim Porter's death scene.
Yeah, I know. And he was also the nigga that took Tory Lanez to Kylie's house to fake shoot Megan Thee Stallion. Corey Gamble is Justin Bieber's former tour manager, which taught Kris Jenner how to be a tour manager so that she could take over the financial responsibility for all of Kanye West shows and remove Sean G. You. Anyway.
Shit. Okay.
Yeah, Corey Gamble has been a plant for a long time. Everybody knows it.
Most high. Soon as I get my masters back, they want chatter. Now I'm independent, niggas want fended. White labels trying to turn my black folk against me. Devil want a nigga so I beat that nigga 1,000 times in a row. Illuminati trying to get me, nigga. But I'm the one they gotta spare like a Britney, nigga. Through the hot and cold, I would never sell my soul. And if I gotta die for that, I'm dying Christian, nigga.
I'm back, shout go out to Scat. Shout out to the baby, Roddy Rich and Lil Baby. What I'm about to say is gonna sound a little crazy, but it's true, so don't flame me. Y'all all would've got y'all awards if they never framed me. I'm waist deep
together. For all the ones that know me better, you know I'm fed up. The only way to hold a setup is to know a setup. I don't like to do this, y'all just act like I ain't human. Please don't listen to the rumors that they try eluding. I've never hit no woman, why the fuck would I just do this? This be that dark label shit them niggas trying to do me. I know the secrets and I know the fuckery, and they don't want me to say nothing, so they trying to shut. Gotta take into account, most of these niggas got my number, like you could've called me, like, you know what I'm saying, like, in the most sincere way, you could've asked, like, nigga, like what happened, did you do it? You know, even that would've been straight to me, you know what I'm saying? I'm there for you. I was never good at school, but smart enough to see the signs behind the fuckery and lies of the system and how they try. With grand plans to separate us, tear us down, conquer the divide. The main plan was to have a black man silence. And though, of course, we used our voice to override it, they influenced us by using niggas' eye color to talk about drugs and violence and signed them. They made black women talk more sex and less what they mind is. 80s all through the 90s, like who the fuck is behind this? You await the reminders, I equate to remind you. Business, they told you mind you. Listen, then you ain't find yourself inside of this war. The devil dive in your door. My black skinned Christians know the devil pry at you more. When Michael Jackson, Prince got their masters back, what happened? Tory Lanez got his masters back just now, and look what happened. Chris Brown, a black man that changed his life for the right, and still black Twitter finding ways to tear him down and bring him back in. A rapper catching domestic, y'all start to talk that action. I feel like famous Amos after all that happened. They want the downfall of every black man, but I ain't going. Jealous fellas, niggas best at catching like they Odell. These rap niggas out here telling Megan she should go tell, but she won't tell the truth cause I'll be kicked up in my hotel.
They're like moles digging up dirt on people is to them like though it was gold. And that's the world we live in right now. I think that we have the power to change the narrative. Because one thing that the evil empire fears more than anything, they fear masses of people thinking for themselves. That's what they fear. That's their biggest fear. You know, we live in a world where the powers that be tell us that we should walk around with these blindfolds on. They want us to be walking around with blindfolds, and we should depend on them to be the only one that can lead us or direct us where we should go. And they never want us to remove the blindfolds because they fear that if we remove the blindfolds, not only will we realize that we can see, but they fear that we will realize that the people who are leading us around are actually the ones that, and their continued existence depends on us never knowing that they really are the ones that are blind.